Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. So, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about GMOs, or genetically modified organisms? Now, think about where you heard about them and how that has shaped your opinion of them. My name is Ryzen, and I will be discussing how the use of genetic modification can increase the production of sustainable food. The topic of biotechnology in food has been around for years, and selective breeding of plants has been around for thousands of years. But it has been a source of controversy among the public. I will be explaining how this technological advancement has allowed us to navigate the issue of food insecurity. With the ever-growing population, we look to science to think of ways to support our increasing nutritional demands. In the article, Assessing Knowledge and Willingness to Use Genetically Modified Crops in Uganda, taken from the journal Agriculture and Food Security, Sadiq Mustafa states, the unpredictability of climate change, coupled with the burgeoning global population and dire need for affordable and nutritious food, have made it imperative to come up with ways of increasing food production. Genetically modified crops have allowed us to produce food even faster, as well as a higher yield of food. His team did a study with some farmers and found that the use of modified crops increased the yield by around 22%. And this was published in 2023, so it's fairly recent. This technology has also increased the durability and resistance of these plant structures. Some examples of that are resistance to pest and disease. The modification of these genes allow us to select certain genes that deter certain bugs and certain diseases, which allow for more survival of these plants and increase back to the increase of production and the yield. So you have more surviving plants, as well as climate and drought. These plants can be adapted to different climates and different regions, especially with growing concerns of climate change. With these new plant traits, it is giving us more positive outlooks for the future of these crops. Some of these plants have natural pesticides. Looking back at their resistance to pests, some of these plants have their own natural pesticides, which is eliminating the use or the decreased use of pesticides and herbicides. According to Mustafa's study, in the group of farmers that he used, the decrease of pesticides was about 37%. So to sum that up, according to the article, the role and contributions of plant breeding and plant biotechnology to sustain agriculture in Africa, DK says, ideally, new novel traits that are being targeted to benefit a truly sustainable agriculture in Africa include improved seed biology, abiotic and biotic stress tolerance / resistance, crop resource use efficiency, and new market-driven post-harvest and industrial qualities. So, for example, in Africa, a majority of their economy is in agriculture. This technology provides benefits both economically as well as fighting food insecurity within the communities. Which brings us to the next point. Increased nutritional value. In the article, Genetically Engineered Food and Genetically Modified Organisms, Omid Nodashani says, issues of malnutrition are prevalent in all countries and are a severe problem, especially in third world countries where they do not have the means to access enough food or nutritional supplements. A recent study of golden rice, or rice genetically engineered to include beta-carotene, concluded that if all children in deprived areas were given enough vitamin A, up to 2.7 million deaths could be prevented each year, which is a significant number. So through the gene modification, we can increase the nutritional content of foods. Instead of producing more supplements, we can do that through food. Whereas like right now we're making supplements, but we're getting it from plants. We can still do the same thing, but it can be more beneficial through food. Now, a lot of people have their concerns with this technology, and all of those concerns are valid and understandable. Some of those, such as health and the safety regulations. An example of those would be the cross-contamination of genes that would cause unexpected allergic reactions. For example, they place the peanut gene into a plant that doesn't normally have that gene. That could cause an allergic reaction in someone who has a peanut allergy. That's a possibility. Or the improper labeling of GMOs could cause distrust among consumers. Another possible issue is with ecosystems. From the same article as mentioned before, Nodashani touches on the possible ecological impact of GM crops, saying the genetic modification of plants leads to the concurrent genetic modification of the flower pollen. When the flower pollen becomes genetically modified or sterile, bees will potentially go malnourished and die of illness due to the lack of nutrients and the interruption of the digestive capacity of what they feed on through the summer and overwinter hibernation process. While there are potentially ways to avoid this, it could be an issue because we do rely on bees for a majority of our pollination of crops. So, by taking the time to properly research genetic modification, you can gain a better understanding of how this technology works and how it is beneficial to our society. Increased knowledge from reliable sources in a simplified form and from places such as scientists can increase acceptance of GMOs. Genetic modification can be an important tool in assessing food insecurity, and after today, you might view GMOs a little bit differently. Thank you. I'm just trying not to go over my 9 minutes.
Oh my god, I thought I was gonna pee my pants with
What is wrong with you guys?